Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to build a agentic AI for a real-time use case which we need to handle almost on a daily basis if you are in any service IT provider company. You would have heard this word request for proposal, and this is what customer roll out whenever they need any kind of software related service or they want to build any solution for any problem they are facing. So this is the very first thing which customer roll out, and then we as a IT service provider company, we have to understand that RFP, we have to analyze that RFP, and then we have to go for the proposal. And in a proposal, we have to just share a lot of information which I'm going to share, like what would be the structure of our proposal. So first, let's try to understand what the request for proposal is, and then I'm going to explain, the proposal structure as well. Right. So if you just search for the request for proposal for a software development, you will get a lot of RFPs. And if you just open any one of them, then you will see there is a lot of information which you have to understand, right? See, this is how, so it has 168 pages, right? So it just explains everything, the background and the context, what they want to build, what kind of problem they have. So we have to just understand entire RFP, and then we have to build a proposal accordingly. Right? So it has a lot of information regarding what kind of problem they are facing, what they want to, how they want to solve it. If they know, if they don't know, then they are completely dependent upon us to suggest how the solution would look like, what kind of technology we want to use, how we want to deploy it, whatever is related to the software development cycle, right? Starting from the requirement gathering, how we can do that, how we're going to design various documents, what would be our methodology for development and the testing, and then how we are going to deploy it in production, and then how we're going to maintain in a long run. So all those kind of stuff we have to provide in a proposal, and then so which is very comprehensive, which is very lengthy task. First you have to understand that, and then you have to go through with all these kind of stuff. So right, this is the RFP, right? And that is where I thought that if I can use my learning and the understanding which I have for the agentic AI, can I use agentic AI to do all those activity and just give me the proposal for any given RFP? And that is where this video is. So that is where the idea of this video came in my mind, that I should explain how we can achieve that, right? It is not yet completely done, but it is actually providing us a proposal in a first round, but I wanted to have a deep down on those proposal as well. If you just see on my screen, it's tab 2, where we want to deep dive analysis on the high level proposal, which this agent has created for us. That part is still in progress, because once we have this, then we will be golden. Right. So let's try to understand how we can develop this kind of agentic AI, which can, analyze the complete RFP and provide the proposal ready for the very first review. And probably in the next video, when I'm done with the deep dive analysis, then it will be in a shape which can be utilized in a production like environment by anyone. Right. So before we just get into the implementation detail and just see the working demo, if you really like my video, I would highly recommend you to please don't forget to subscribe for my channel and give a thumbs up as well. Right. So now without any further delay, let's get into the coding part first. And before that, we can quickly execute our query. We can quickly execute one of the tasks for RFP. Right. So what I'm going to do, this is what the application looks like. You have to just upload the RFP. So I'm just going to upload the RFP here. Okay. And then I'm going to click the button, analyze RFP. Now it's going to take a little bit of time. So let's utilize that time to understand how the code is written for that. Right. So now I have created a new application, RFP Analyzer. The structure is pretty much same. We have a tools folder. If you have been watching my previous video, in the tools, we keep all the servers and file system, memory, and the web search. These are the 3 servers which we have written so far. And these are the 2 new servers, new MCP server. First one is the document ingester server. Another one is the report generator server. These are the 2 server which we need, and I'm going to explain what all dependencies we need to build this server. Right, that's one thing. Second thing is, whenever we include any new server, as I have explained multiple times, we have to change our prompt. Right. So how can I do that? So let me just open this simple one first. Okay. So The only change here you will see is the class name. Earlier we were using a simple agent. Now we have this RFP analyzer agent. We have two methods, things and run, which is still being the case because we are following the same structure so far. So whenever we want to build agentic AI, we don't have to do any foundational work. All we need to do is to just introduce the server, which we are adding here. If you can see, we have added these two new servers, the document ingester and the report generator, and gave the server location where those servers are. Then this is the prompt where you will see the heavy changes which I have made here, right? So if you just see, and that is where I was emphasizing, to build agentic AI, you don't only have to understand, how the MCP protocol works for the client and server, but you have to understand how to design an effective prompt as well. And that is where you will find this is you are an expert in AI software architect, which is standard way. Your primary goal is to analyze the request. So what I'm saying, first I'm setting up, okay, what you are to the large language model, and then we are saying specifically what you need to do. What I'm saying, your primary goal is to analyze the request for proposal and create a professional high-level design proposal in a PDF format, right? So this is what I'm asking large language model to think about it, how you can achieve it. Then this is the core task because we have to dictate what kind of process it has to follow. Otherwise, it will have a lot of information and it will just go into a situation where you can't control it. So just to control the LLM response, you have to design your prompt very, very intelligently. So what I'm saying here is this is the logical sequence which LLM should follow. The first is ingest the document, and that is where the document ingester server will come into the picture. So I'm specifically mentioning this because this is not a general task agentic AI. This is a very specific task-oriented agentic AI. So we have to provide as specific as information we can so that our large language model can easily do what we are expecting it to do without even getting into the uncontrollable situations. Then the formulate the design. So what we need a design. How we first need in a markdown, structure, because large language models are very good in just providing that. And it's now our responsibility to build agentic AI, which can convert a markdown into the PDF because that's the final structure we want. And we're going to see how we can do that. Save the markdown file and then generate the PDF file from that, right? Then we have all these, servers, what we have added to by agentic AI. And then we have these functions. We're going to understand all these functions so that we can relate them. Then what are the tools we have available on the server? Document ingester, file system, where we have extract text from a file. This is what the document ingester gonna do. So let me just quickly show you that. What tool we have? Extract from a file. Same tool, but what is expect? It's expect filing, right? And if I just go back to the agent, then you can see it's the same structure which we have. And this is the very same structure we have been following so far for all the agentic AI. Then we have a file system, what method signature we should have. Same with the report generator. So let's quickly review the report generator as well because we haven't seen that, right? So here if you see, this is the method and this is the two parameters which we need. We need a markdown file and output file because in the first step we were creating a markdown file after analyzing the RFP, and then it will provide us all the design and all the required information, and then that information has to be converted into the PDF, right? So coming back to the agent, right? So far this is the standard one. Then we are providing a task history based on the memory, and this is the output structure for my client, right? So because first, whatever task it has to achieve until this point, it has to create the JSON in a format which MCP can understand properly and figure it out what needs to be done, like which server needs to be executed first and all those kind of stuff, right? So now if you just see here, we have this server who manages, then we have this structure. So we are just saying, okay, create this in this structure. So we are just simply saying how the JSON should be formed by the LLMs, right? We can dictate this. We can have a more specific thing as well. If you want, we can just provide all kind of JSON if you want to keep it very hard coded, but just keep it generic because we are just trying to understand how the logic works, right? Then we have this run method, which we have already I have explained several times. There is no change in run because we have written all in a very generic way, right? So there is no need to change anything. All we need to change is prompt and the number of servers which we have here. Now, coming back to the server, how I have designed a logic, right? So the very first thing is extract a text from a file. So what we are doing here in our application, we are first loading the data. Why we are loading a data? Because there is a problem. We can just figure it out. That's not an issue. So first we have to load the data. So once the RFP is loaded, which is PDF, then we have to read the PDF, and that is where we are using this library, which is PyMu PDF, and this has to be PDF, and then accordingly I have to change this here, right? So what this is, if you just search here on on the pipeline, then you will find this PyMu PDF, which is actually used for manipulating or do any kind of operation to over the PDF file. So the very first thing, once the application load this, let me just quickly remove few things. Let me just quickly run one more time. Okay, let me do that explanation, right? So once the file is uploaded, then this method will come into the picture, which will actually what it will do, whatever the file we are uploading, MCP. So large language model will dictate to the MCP client, okay, execute this server, which is document ingester, and execute this method from there, or basically right? So once you have that information, okay, then what we are doing, we are just checking whether this is ending with the PDF or not. If it is ending with the PDF, then we are using PyMu PDF. But if it is a doc, basically we are supporting a Word document as well. And for that, we have another library, which is Python-Docx, and I can just quickly show you. This one is to deal with how to manipulate the Microsoft Word document, which has nowadays extended as .docx. Right, so we are supporting two kind of file structure, PDF and the Word document. And the PDF, if it hands with the PDF, then it is going to use PyMu PDF. If it is a Word document, then it is going to use the docs from here, which is a document class, right? So what we are doing, we are opening this PDF, right, which is a very standard thing. Once we have all the content in a doc, then we are iterating through, because this doc is having a one page as a one list item. So we are iterating through it, and then we are just joining the complete data without, because we know that every statement will have a dot. So we are simply just joining the content of every page into a one giant text. Once that text is extracted, then we are just returning that back, and same process we are following for the docx. Once this is done, then MCP client will get this data, and then it will come back to the large language model and ask that now we have extracted the information. What's the next task? Then LLM will understand that, and it will just create the proposal for us. Once that is done, then it is going to call this report generator, where it says that create PDF form file, where it requires a markdown file. So basically, we have to just convert, our input into the markdown file. And we know that when LLM responded, for such requests is always create the markdown. So we don't have to do anything. Large language model is going to provide the markdown file, and we have to just save the data, clean that up. That is what our agent will do. And then we have to just call the another server, which is report generator server, which will take that markdown file as an input and create the output. So how it is doing that? Here we have two more libraries, Markdown 2 and VZPrint. VZPrint, if you just look here, it is just for creating a PDF file with the help of a HTML pages, right? So as I say, Markdown, what is Markdown, right? So Markdown Py2, you can also understand, which translate easy to read and easy to write a structured text format into the HTML. And we know that we use Markdown a lot, especially for the README and all those stuff. And if you are using a notebooks, we have a lot of Markdowns. That is basically built upon the Markdown. We can simply say, okay, it is a tag, or it is a code block, or it is a simple, HTML related title and all those kind of stuff, right? So Markdown 2 and VZPrint. So these are the two additional library which we will be needing to create another server, which is going to help us to generate the report into the file format, right? So this is a very high level, simple logical flow. We are just opening a markdown file, simple file, and then we are converting that into the markdown, right? So this is just a structure how you can create a HTML content with the help of a markdown, and this is the CSS style. So these are the two input which you need to feed into your VZPrint. So basically, if you just see what I'm importing from VZPrint, I'm importing HTML and CSS. I created a HTML content from the markdown, and then we have a CSS style which we are applying. You can get all this information from the documentation, which is very comprehensive, and you can just design those CSS style and the HTML content, which is very straightforward, like what you are expecting to have in the markdown. Once you have these two things like CSS style, this is how you can just convert it to the object which can accept by the HTML model. So in HTML, what you are seeing, okay, you are feeding a HTML content, then you are calling this write PDF. And when you are writing a PDF at that point of time, you are feeding a style sheet. So first you are calling this HTML ones to just get the HTML conversion, and then you are converting into the PDF. And that is what this busy print library does, right? So this is how you will finally get the PDF generated, right? So now let's come back here. Okay, it seems like it's failing. I will just figure that out, but I can just quickly show you how the output would look like, right? So once this is done, because I have already executed that. Once this is done, it is going to create this generate proposal. Inside the generated proposal, you will be having a markdown and PDF, right? So in a markdown, we will get this kind of report. Whatever the file we are uploading, it will append the stamp underscore report, and we can quickly open this up and try to understand what we have. Right? So we can see it's provide a executive summary, understanding the requirement, objective analysis, like what precisely it requires to build. Then propose the high level architecture. We are just providing a architect. This is not I have done it. It is completely being generated by the large language model based on what it has understand and the prompt we have written, right? We can see the functional alignment, we can see the development approach and a timeline, we can see the meeting evaluation criteria as well as the qualification. And these are the things actually being requested by the request for proposal, like what all information they need, what we are asking explicitly, like the high level architecture, our technology stack recommendations, and what should be our development approach and the timelines. But rest of the stuff is actually being appended by the large language model. It's using its own intelligence to build this based on what specifics we need, right? This is the one output. The another one is the PDF one. If I just open this one, it will say this is how the PDF would look like. The same information what we have in a markdown, now we can see in a PDF format, which is really, really awesome. If I have to do all these things manually, it is going to take days for me, and multiple members has to involve in all those activities, because everyone has their own expertise. Someone are developers, someone is very good in deployment strategy. So we have to not only spend a lot of time, but we have to collaborate. So it takes, weeks just create a one proposal for any request for any RFP. And that is how by just utilizing Agentic AI in just few minutes, you can get this very high level thing. I know it's not in a shape where you can directly use that. And that is where my another feature where you can see that step 2 deep dive analysis optional will come into the picture. Why this is failing right now, I can easily understand that, because my quota has been completed. And this is what you can see here. Awesome. I think we should be getting 429. Yes, you exceed your current quota. Please check the plan and link. So probably I just exhausted my quota, but that's not an issue. But this is what I wanted to cover, because I have already run it. So we know that how the entire, agentic AI flow actually works. And this is really awesome, because I really feel that now I have utilized this agentic AI concept for, one of the main problem which I have been facing, where I have to spend weeks to just create a one simple proposal. Now I can easily get that in few minutes, and then all I have to do is to just fine tune that. That is what I'm going to do next, where I will be going into the deep dive, and I will keep asking to nurture that or enhance that into the next level. Here we can see the generated design as well, and probably once I just have my quota restored, then probably I will just again do the run the entire thing, and I can explain to you as well in the next video, right? Probably let me just quickly see how it actually works. Probably this is where you can see, it sees that, okay, which, file to be read, whether this file is there or not, which is it's looking for the MD. I think I was facing a lot of issues in that. I think we should be having something more information here. Yeah, here, if you just see, it's first try to just, this one is the best option. I mean, this is how the flow looks like. The very first thing what it does is it's try to see which server to hit and which method, and that is where he's feeding the RFP, right? Once it just inform that, then it's keep checking what kind of error it is getting into, whether, the ingester is working fine or not. So there would be a lot of, failure, which I found, and that is where I have to keep changing, the prompt, right? And whatever the prompt I have explained, that's the final one, which is actually just doing its job as expected, right? this one, right? So I hope you understand, how you can build the agentic AI, and this one is really awesome. I really happy that I was able to just use this agentic AI to solve the real-time problem which I have been facing. And I know this agentic AI will definitely help a lot, if I can just, add more intelligence to the next step, which is deep dive analysis, right? Where we can elaborate on the proposed architecture, we can have a deeper comparison of the technology stack, detail of the cloud deployment strategy. And once these things are done, which is a follow-up request on based on what proposal, my agentic AI is giving, then we can fine tune as well with this, and I can keep adding more, deep dive option over here. So that's pretty much it from my side for this particular video. And as I asked earlier, if you really like this video and if you are interested in my future video, please subscribe for my channel, hit the notification bell. So whenever there is a new video, you will get notified for the same. And if you haven't subscribed for my channel, please subscribe for my channel. And as always, stay healthy, keep learning new things.